Riots in Chicago, riots in the Pacific Northwest. People are clashing with ICE. The National Guard has been cleared to be federalized in Illinois, but they are blocking Trump's deployment of the troops on the ground. And the government is shut down, and it could be one of the longest shutdowns we've seen in a long time. Kalshi is predicting it could be upwards of 35 or more days of shutdown. But the politicos are pointing out something quite interesting. You see, Democrats could end this shutdown whenever they want, but there's a reason they're likely not going to, and that is the No Kings protest this Saturday. The speculation is that Democrats are intentionally keeping the government shut down for two reasons. Police are going to, well, they're not getting paid. They're being promised you're going to get back pay in D.C. when the government reopens. But right now, reporting suggests they won't receive any money, but they'll have to go out and do riot duty, while Democrats will be off from work and free to join in massive protests and bullhorn. And man, when we started talking about it, I'm like, it's going to be crazy if federal police aren't getting paid. In the meantime, we are seeing DHS and ICE still doing their jobs despite the government being shut down because they're expected to get paid. So I think things should be largely okay. But that being said, our Culture War Live event is being postponed because unbeknownst to us, they were going to be doing this massive protest when we planned the event. So we're going to have to move that one. We got a lot more news to go through. What with the Antifa stuff and all, the FBI has been reaching out to prominent personalities. Glenn Beck, Nick Sorter, contacted by the FBI for information pertaining to Antifa, which is a group. And Zoran Mamdani has reportedly been caught taking in $13,000 in foreign contributions. Now, one might say, but it's an accident. He'll give the money back. Except some of the money, a large contribution of over $2,000, came from his mother-in-law, who lives in Dubai. Doesn't sound like an accident to me. So we'll talk about that and more. Before we get started, my friends, we got a great sponsor. We got a great sponsor for you tonight. It is Beam Dream. Head over to shopbeam.com/Timcast. And pick up your Beam Dream. This stuff is fantastic, delicious hot cocoa. I drink it every night before I go to bed, and I sleep beautifully. It's got melatonin, L-theanine. It's got magnesium. That's the secret, especially if you're working out. You got to make sure you got your magnesium. Only 15 calories, so no groggy feeling. You wake up feeling like $1,000,000, and it works. You know, my sleep score has been dramatically improving. It has improved dramatically over the past month or two since I started taking this every single day. I'm a huge fan. Check out shopbeam.com, shopbeam.com/TimPool, and you will get up to 35% off, limited time only. I'm a big fan. Thanks for sponsoring the show, Beam Dream. We got one more sponsor. It is Cove Pure. You may have seen this, my friends. Utah and Florida recently banned fluoride in their drinking water. We're huge fans of that, by the way. Now ask yourself, why are they doing a massive U-turn on a chemical that's been pumped into our water for 80 years? Maybe it's because they finally realized it's authoritarian. Let me just add, there's something very strange about everybody voting to put some kind of chemical in your water. I know they do chlorine as well, but fluoride seems particularly pernicious. They say you need the freedom to choose pure water. You do. That's why you guys check out Cove Pure, a countertop water purifier certified to remove up to 99.9% of impurities. That includes fluoride. Yes, but also other garbage, PFAs, fertilizer runoff, pharmaceuticals, you name it. The taste is a game changer, too, guys. This is what water's supposed to taste like. Pure, clean, no aftertaste. You'll want more, and it's so easy. No drilling, no plumbers. Just fill it, plug it in. It's easy. The best part is you can choose any temperature, hot or cold, with one tap. Look, if you like fluoride, by all means, chug all the fluoride you want, whatever. But if you don't, but don't wait for the government to sort out pure water. Do it yourself. Head over to covepure.com/Tim. And for a limited time, get $200 off. That's covepure.com/Tim. And don't forget to also smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we have the great Peter Navarro.
Tim, welcome back, man. I've been hanging out here for a couple of weeks, just kicking it back, skating and stuff like that. It's
waiting
fun.
For me to get here.
They told me, he said I had to come early, but good to see you again, man.
Likewise. For those that aren't familiar, who are you and what do you do?
I am a senior counselor for trade manufacturing at the Trump White House. I was there for 4 years in the first term. Actually, Tim, I don't know if you know this, only one of 3 senior White House advisors who was with the boss from the campaign in 2016 all the way to the end of that first term. Me, Dan Scavino, who folks don't know, he's the magician who did all the social media for the boss in the first term. And, of course, Stephen Miller, who's the shadow border czar along with Tom Homan. So I'm doing that. I'm here tonight because I got this book out. I went to prison so you won't have to. It's it's called A Love and Lawfare Story in Trumpland. It's about how weaponized system of injustice when the Democrats had control of the power put me in prison for a misdemeanor that wasn't a crime, Tim, up until the point where they made it a crime. It was right out of, I think it was Beria in the Soviet Union. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. So I'm here a little bit to talk about that. But it's going to be kind of interesting because a lot of the things that are going on with all these court cases and where they're trying to stop Trump doing this, that, and the other thing, National Guard, it all boils down to one of the themes that run through I Went to Prison So You Won't Have to, which is to say politicians in black robes in our justice system rather than people who are actually trying to do justice on behalf of the American people. So it's great to be with you. This is my third time, I think, with you. It's always a pleasure to come out. I was envious of your extensive collection of guitars.
Oh, yeah. Extensive collection.
And
Indeed.
I'm here with the guys and looking forward to the dialogue.
Well, it's great to have you. You've got Shane hanging out.
What's going on? It's great to be here with you, Peter. Thanks for joining us. I am the host of Inverted World Live. Tonight, I'll be running out of this room around 9:40 to host my show. I'm going to have the great Rex Jones joining us tonight. We're going to talk about war and robots in your homes and what's going on in InfoWars. And we'll be taking calls until midnight.
And I'm going to have a great conspiracy for you that's real as a heart attack, man, which has to do with me being at the center of this conspiracy where they put me in leg irons. And the FBI agent named Walter Giardina, who put me in leg irons, I can tie him to every attempt to take Trump down from 2016 to 2024, including things that he knows about. Crimson River. Nobody knows about that. J6, Arctic Frost, Crossfire Hurricane, all that. So we're going to have a fun talk about that.
Looking forward to it.
Right on. Also joining us is animation great and subject of one of my favorite songs from Soundgarden, Seamus Coughlin.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. I'm Seamus Coughlin. I'm the creator of Freedom Tunes. And I'm currently working on a full-length animated show. It's an animated anthology series. We're crowdfunding it right now. So if you guys want to get access to our pilot episode and help support what we're doing, you can go over to twistedplots.com. We had an insane first week, the week of our launch. We just passed the 1 week mark today, and we have 43% of our total budget raised, which is huge. Awesome. And so we're at 43.56 right now. If we can get to 44 tonight, I'll be a happy man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Do you know what song I was referring to?
No, I don't, but I knew it was some kind of insult, and I thought, I'll roll with it. I'll be good-natured about
Anybody want to say it?
Spoon Man.
Oh! You know me. You know I would never do that.
Spoon Man. Come together with your plan. Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary, so let's get into it.
Here's the news from the AP. Government shutdown could be the longest ever, Speaker Johnson warns. And, I got to be honest, I don't really care about the government shutdown for the most part. Interestingly, and shout out to Kalshi for sponsoring the segment, in their prediction market, how long will the government shutdown last? The current prediction is 32.9 days. So they're giving it over 30 days. That's pretty dang wild. But there is one reason why I think it actually matters why they're shutting the government down, because I know that you guys were mentioning, you talked with Riley more about this. There's more commentary coming out. The No Kings protest, millions are expected to protest on Saturday, and federal law enforcement aren't being paid right now. So it's interesting as to what we could expect to happen with law enforcement officers and agents being like, I've not gotten paid. There's videos of, military service men and women going to food banks. I don't know if that's related or out of context, whatever. But we've got this clip I want to play for you guys. We'll play this one here. I don't know. It's a couple minutes long.
Sources are telling me that the whole reason that the Democrats are doing this is because they want to be there for next weekend's No Kings March. in Washington, where you're going to see these activists march in Washington this coming Saturday. One senator told me that the groups are threatening Minority Leader Schumer, telling him, you better do this and keep the government closed or we will make you irrelevant. And so do you believe that's what this is about? It's more theatrics than really any, marriage to these Obamacare subsidies?
Well, Maria, the American people are being held hostage by Chuck Schumer's poll numbers. Why did he go with a clean CR in the spring? What's changed is his poll numbers versus AOC have collapsed. And if in fact they are waiting for this No Kings protest, no kings means no paychecks and no government.
Sure. But I think so. I think that's absolutely the reason. I'm curious what you guys think.
I'm curious what you think of the shutdown, actually, as somebody who has experience in government.
So here's what I think is going on. It's a byproduct of the way our political system's structured. So if you're a moderate Democrat today and you want to side with the sensible thing to not shut down the government, your greatest fear is what? It's being primaried by some wacko, a Mom Dami or an AOC type figure, right? So, and the reality is, in these primary elections for Congress, they're very, very low turnout. Mm-hmm. And because they're low turnout, the only people who come out are the far left. So a moderate Democrat could very easily lose a primary when they would actually cruise to victory in a runoff. So that's kind of standard kind of problem there. The beauty of this from our side is that it turns Russ Vought, the director of OMB, into what's going to be a folk hero, because the rules of the shutdown allow the president, through the Office of Management and Budget, to cut where we think it's best to cut. And that's the Democrats' worst nightmare. So at one point, they got to wake up to that reality. If you notice, it hadn't bothered Wall Street at all, because a little bit of shutdown, at least, with Russ Vought cutting where we need to get cut and cutting back some of that spending that was crazy that was done by Biden, actually helps on the inflation front, and that filters down to our interest rates. I'm looking to see that 10-year bond yield drop below 4. That's going to be kind of a critical thing to unlock the housing market again. So that's where we're at.
I don't know that I don't know that I agree that any of that matters, to be honest. I mean, from like a
you mean the shutdown itself? You think
the shutdown?
You think it could go on forever, Tim?
No, I'm saying the younger generation is looking at more immediate problems pertaining to security and culture and society, as opposed to financials. I mean, Gen Z's probably resigned themselves to never owning homes at all anyway. And but
they got credit cards. They got credit cards.
Yeah, I think the
problem
Gen Z
credit cards
probably just rack up the debt and never pay it off.
Yeah, well, it's a 20% debt. It's a little higher than the mafia, Yeah. So I don't know. It's like interest rates affect you in a lot of ways. Let's say you don't have a credit card and you're never going to buy a house. The businesses that serve you, particularly the small ones, are stuck with these higher interest rates, and then prices go up and you pay more and stuff like that. It's like if we're I guess my point from a macro thing, Tim, is that if you're in a higher interest rate environment, it's very hard to be prosperous. So that's kind of
right. But my point was that is the thinking of the older generation. That
I would qualify for that.
But I would argue that,
just to be clear, I'm not a day over 75.
The younger generation doesn't have access to things. They have no corporate securities. They don't own homes. They don't own any kind of property.
I get it.
So what we are seeing now is the conversation from younger people isn't really around the specifics of fixing policy. Younger people are more like, which revolution do we want? Do we want the communist or the traditional right wing? And you go to them and say, hey, look, we want to change interest policy. They're going to say, huh? My concern is that you've either got the transient kid open border side or you've got the faith-based restoration of America side.
I think what you're saying actually makes a lot of sense. Particularly, we were talking about this last week. AOC is likely to primary Chuck Schumer. Right, like she's looking for a more prestigious job. She's likely to primary Chuck Schumer, and the people that you're talking about, Tim, they're actually aligned with AOC.
And look at Zoran Mamdani.
Yeah, he's doing great.
The issue is not we are going to fix the policy that's going to make it easier to buy a house. It's we're going to steal stuff and give it to you.
Yeah, but remember, they're not necessarily the AOC. Remember, the beauty of Tim Pool and Donald Trump was the ability to bring in the younger generation.
Sure.
I mean, we did extremely well.
And
in that 2024 election. And a lot of it, I mean, you guys are cutting edge on this. And it was primarily the males, the young men who kind of understand things in a more textured way than before. And so but the thing with New York, if you just play that out, okay, so she primaries Schumer and New York skewed Dems. So if you win the primary, you win the race. See, that's the problem. Unless you pull a Cuomo and try to do an independent thing. And, the system's broken, bottom line.
I think
we're a 50-50 country, which is dangerous.
What we're going to see is that something we've talked about quite a bit is the mortality shelf for the boomer generation is now. So over the next 5 to 10 years, we're expected to lose, I think it's between 20 to 40 million boomers. And this type of politics won't exist anymore. You are going to have younger boomers and older Gen X taking the place of the older voter. Gen X, of course, very pro-Trump. They got Trump in. Yeah. Then the younger generation is going to be entering their 30s, taking control of industry, at least to a degree where they can. And then you are going to see this bifurcation is here already at the younger generation.
No question.
So when they move up into the industry, you will now have a bisection in this country. Far left communist worldviews, traditional right-wing constitutional republicanist worldviews, and what we're seeing already with fighting in the streets, these two distinct worldviews view themselves as an entirely different nations, essentially. So again, with the No Kings protest coming up on Saturday, with the government shutdown, I don't think the government shutdown conversation matters at all to young leftists. I think you may as well be.
It certainly doesn't matter to young leftists. There is like they like burn.
This is AOC.
Down.
I'm talking about AOC.
She's just a political opportunist at this point.
She's got the followers. She's got the money.
And if anything happens, she blames it on somebody else.
And Schumer is following her lead because he knows he's losing.
Well, I don't think he's following.
Schumer's in an absolutely no-win situation. And it just, you remember, Tim, when we had the shutdown the last time, it was Schumer that actually folded and reopened the government, and he took tremendous heat for that. And that was the beginning of AOC going after him. Mm-hmm. So he's like, we're a victim of his own situation. But I tell you, Tim, I've known Schumer for like 30 years. I've been fighting this China fight, and I remember Chuck was the original guy who talked a good game on China but never did anything. I mean, that guy is the sleaziest, two-faced guy. They had a game. It was really interesting. Congress would try to do this bill on Chinese currency manipulation. China undervalues the currency. They could sell us more shit and take our jobs, right? So one year, Schumer they would sponsor the bill. They'd have one in the House, one in the Senate. And Schumer would get a good vote in the Senate, but then the House would vote against it so it wouldn't fall. And then the next year they'd switch. And it was like this game. So I don't trust Chuck as far as I could throw him. New York politics is broken. The problem is this country it's like a 50-50 country, blue versus red. You got Pritzker in Illinois talking smack with Durbin about the boss. And meanwhile, people are dying in the streets every day in Chicago. They don't see it. They don't care. Mm-hmm. And I think you're right, Tim. I think we're going into a world where it's going to be just very one against the other, and it could turn ways that we don't want.
I think it will. Let's pull up this story. We got this from ABC Chicago. Illinois leaders call for the removal of Broadview ICE facility fence as judge's deadline nears. Yup, a judge said that ICE has to remove a barrier that was put up to stop the rioters, and now Illinois leaders are saying they have to as well. It's patently obvious in my mind. I mean, this is psychotic. You have a federal law enforcement facility that is enforcing the law of the duly elected government, and they are facing riots, and the local government is siding with the rioters.
Yep.
I watched a video the other day of it was a DHS guy, two of them, trying to arrest what is alleged to be an illegal immigrant. I don't know for sure, but there's a Hispanic guy screaming "Ayúdame," to Spanish for "help me," and the bystanders do. They intervene and help him escape. That is where we currently are in this country, and I think people need to understand what this leads to. Another example here is this WGN producer who is on video laying on the ground getting arrested. And what did the left report? ICE arrests WGN producer. My response is, what does her job have to do with it? She was arrested for throwing rocks at cops.
Yeah.
Right. If you're standing on the street and you throw a rock at a cop and they arrest you, you don't go like arrested by lawyer or police arrested lawyer. So what we're seeing now is they don't care about what is or is not. They care about power. More importantly, the bifurcation in government is happening. There is no reason, in my opinion, to see why this would reverse. When the federal government says we're going to deport people, the Illinois government says tear down your fences, let the rioters in. Mm-hmm. We've got another video we'll talk about in a little bit where more conservatives are being arrested in Portland. And I'm seeing these people on X post, well, why are the police arresting the victims? Because these conservatives have not gotten it through their head yet. The police are not arresting conservatives. The militarized force of the Pacific Northwest are arresting enemy partisans. That's it. That is not hyperbole. That is not exaggeration. I am not saying civil war. I am saying law enforcement are arresting their enemy partisans. That's what's happening. That's what we're seeing now. Where it goes when the federal government is now fighting with local law enforcement and government over how to enforce federal law, this is 1861 territory. This is very much Illinois saying your facility is forfeit. Open your barriers. The federal government saying absolutely not. Not too dissimilar, though there is still a great degree of difference with Fort Sumter.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that they're taking down the fence, this is just asking for something to happen to federal agents.
Of course.
Right, like if they have barriers up, they're there to protect the federal agents and to allow the federal agents to control the rioters and protesters and stuff. If you take that down, you're putting federal agents in harm's way. You're making it possible for the protesters and the black bloc and the rioters to actually attack the building itself.
In Portland, when the ICE facility barricaded their windows with boards, the city filed a zoning violation saying they had to remove the boards from their windows. This is a federal facility just putting up boards. You could put boards on your windows. It's riots. I had a conversation with R.N. McIntyre earlier about, Bleeding Kansas and the violence that led up to the Civil War. And the point he made was that the Civil War didn't start with Fort Sumter. It had been going on for 7 years prior, where people had been moving from other states into Kansas to try and influence the politics because they knew every state that entered as either a slave state or a free state would affect federal level politics. I see similarities between what we're seeing here, the Spanish Civil War, Syrian, French Revolution, Bolsheviks, all of these things, because the underlying circumstances are similar for all of these things. We're at the point now where Trump has deployed Texas National Guard into Illinois. A separate state of the opposing ideology has volunteered a force of military to be dispatched into a rival political state to enforce the law. A judge has just blocked their deployment to the streets, but is allowing Trump to federalize local military.
Let me give you a little background, because I told you off air that this book, I Went to Prison So You Won't Have to. My experience with the justice system kind of explains exactly what's going on in Illinois, what's going on in Portland. For example, the judge, Amit Mehta, who was the judge in my case, through the course of that case would strip me, Tim, of every single defense I had. So by the time I got to a jury, I had no defense. He basically took away my constitutional rights to defense as he stripped away the constitutional separation of powers. Now, how does that pertain to this situation? In the 2016 2016 election, in the 2012 election, when Obama was going for his second term, Ahmed Maida was what's called a bundler. You guys know what a bundler is? A bundler is a guy who goes around and collects checks from different people, puts them in a bundle and hands them over, in this case, to the Obama campaign. So this judge, Ahmed Maida, bundled campaign contributions for Obama. And then once Obama got reelected, Ahmed Maida gets appointed to this prestigious position on the bench. But it gets worse. He knows that in order to move up the chain, first to the appeals court, and the district court in D.C., the appeals court, has been the breeding ground for a lot of Supreme Court justices. He knows that in order to get to the Supreme Court, he wants to be the first Indian American to get there. He knows he's got to kiss the derriere of the Democrats and side with their ideology. And this guy is a total pragmatist. He uses I call him the jackal, because he's used these clever arguments always to side with it. And that, Tim, that's the problem we're facing now with all of these judges. Every time Donald Trump tries to do something which is well within the law, a politician in a black robe who's ambitious and got there only because he pandered politically to the people who appointed him, basically you wind up with a situation where then we've got to take it up the chain. And thank God that we have at least a majority on the Supreme Court, but it takes time. We're only there, they know this, for 1,500 days, Tim. That's the first thing I learned during the first term. It's like that day that I left, that administration at the end of 4 years, I knew that I'd be turning that place back to a bunch of people who hated this country and were going to do things. We're only there for 1,500 days. If they can delay us that way, or, for example, if Congress can delay the appointments of people going into our bureaucracy, which they've done again to us, and that's on Schumer, then they win. So that's why this battle what we're seeing. The outrage we see here is this kind of thing. They want to take the fences down, expose our ICE agents' violence, but the root of that evil is a judiciary which has been weaponized because of the political nature of how it's formed.
I think the judiciary is their current cudgel, but there is a moral worldview among what we would call the multicultural democracy inside of this country. Democrats may not have represented this moral worldview 5 to 10 years ago, but with AOC dominating the par with Zohran Mamdani rising up, it has become apparent that as the younger generation gets older and inherits or seizes this power, more and more we are seeing a Republican Party that represents the constitutional republic of America and the Democrats that represent the multicultural democracy of America.
Let's not forget the role of illegal immigration in all of this.
That's exactly the point.
When you add 20 million people in 4 years,
that's
minimum,
and tens of millions before that, and they bring in the worst kind of memory bank of bad dictators and despots and corrupt regimes from Africa and Latin America and Asia, you're going to get what you get. I mean, Mamdani is like the symbol of that. I mean, that guy is like dangerous because he's so charming in a way, but he's poison to the core.
I hear a lot from the conservatives about, the worst of the worst, the criminals they're bringing in. I don't care. I don't care if they're bringing in a Honduran migrant farmer who prays every day on Sunday and just wants to buy biscuits. Importing multicultural democracy destroys American society.
That's the point. Yep. That is the point, Tim. That's the point I'm making. It's like this whole idea of America being a melting pot.
Yep.
And that stopped about 30, 40 years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay? There's no assimilation.
This was proven with the Iraq War. You cannot take a population that does not believe in a certain governmental or societal structure and then just forced that societal structure on them. We went into Iraq. We took the Ba'ath part. We de-Ba'athized, took the Ba'ath Party out completely. But the people of Iraq were not Jeffersonian Republican Democrats. They did not want a democracy. Yeah, I mean, and it's 100% true. But the point that I'm making is the left doesn't acknowledge that experiment was done and it failed, and it's failed over and over and over. The people
they don't care.
No, well,
I think we got to get a different direction. It says right, left, and then it's something else. Okay, because the traditional left has no relationship. The left itself, historically, does not recognize what that is.
Well,
I respectfully disagree.
Left and right doesn't mean anything. It just means factions. We might as well say red or blue.
Yes.
Well, here's what I respectfully disagree, and really with the utmost respect, because I appreciate everything you've done, and I think you're on the money with this other
Which
stuff.
part, I guess. Yeah.
The big part I disagree with is that the left today doesn't represent the left historically. The left came onto the scene with the French Revolution. This is where we get the term. And what did they do? They were abusing nuns. They were murdering priests. They were slaughtering aristocrats. The whole goal was essentially destroying the Catholic Church, destroying tradition, ending the lives of innocent people. And the left is still up to that today. They're just using very different tools to do it.
Don't forget Spain.
Spain.
The Spanish Civil War.
Oh, yeah, digging nuns up and putting their corpses on display at
my
churches.
point is-
I guess my point is,
If you look
the
in
only
American
time-
history, though, the left, did we ever do this before?
Well, but that's also because, and this is my position on the left generally, and I think the historic record bears this out, the only time the left has not violently subjugated and slaughtered Christians has been when there was a strong enough right-wing movement in the country to marginalize them to the point where they couldn't do that.
And I would say the left.
Indeed.
And I would say the left. I said this last week, but the left has a history of the Weather Underground, a lot of domestic Marxist terrorists, and this is kind of always the foundation of everything they do. It's violence. That's how they try to wield power.
Let's pull this up. We've got this post from Mr. Andy No on X. On October 11th, Portland police arrested 2 conservatives near the ICE facility. A conservative activist was struck on the head with what is believed to be a rock near the ICE facility. He fell to the ground. The suspect fled and got away. While in the hospital, the assault victim, Brian Wesley Crowell Drogged, was criminally cited by police for 4th-degree assault, though it's unclear for what incident. Separately, a man named Harold Alston Smith was arrested and charged with 4th-degree assault. He allegedly got into a physical scuffle with a leftist woman who confronted him. The woman was not arrested. I'll also add Nick Sorter was physically attacked, and when he went to the police, he got arrested. Katie Davis Court was bashed in the face with a pole, injuring her face, and the police refused to arrest her assailant. Consistently, we are seeing responses to these stories from commenters and conservatives saying, why are the police arresting the victims? Perhaps at this point still, there are many conservatives that believe the police can never do anything wrong. But I will stress this point. It is time to realize what time it is. Donald Trump went on social media and said the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago should be in jail. The governor responded with, "Come and get me." Troops from Texas have been deployed into Illinois over the refusal of Illinois and other blue states in similar circumstances to follow the law of the duly elected government. And we are watching police in Portland arrest innocent people ideologically opposed to their rule. This can be very simply and basically described to anybody who understands. If we were in Japan doing a contemporary analysis on modern politics in the United States, we would simply, I should say, in any other country analyzing the United States, you would say Democrat law enforcement are arresting enemy partisans. That's the literal definition of what we are seeing. It has nothing to do with crimes. It has nothing to do with what the law should or should not be. It has everything to do with the fact that Portland police are a component of an ideological Democrat institution, and they are trying to subdue and subjugate enemies. People need to read history and learn about partisan conflict and what happens. It is not that the cop walks out and says, listen, I have no opinion whatsoever. No, what happens is the cop walks out and says, I was appointed by a Democrat. I was put in power by a Democrat. I'm a Democrat. Got to protect trans kids. And you're an evil Nazi bigot.
You're my
who's come
enemy.
to my town.
Yeah.
I am going to arrest you because the law doesn't matter. You're an enemy of this city.
This is a good segue back to I went to prison, so you won't have to. Okay, and let's talk now.
And Merrick Garland didn't go to prison
He
Right.
did not go
Great
to
point.
prison.
for the
And
same thing.
Now, here's to your point, Tim. Let's think about this. I get arrested in a circus arrest at the Reagan National Airport with my fiance. 5 armed FBI agents grab me in a gangway, and we just learned from whistleblowers that a dozen agents were involved in surveillance. The dozen agents who weren't going out and busting terrorists or anything like that, okay? For a misdemeanor, and I lived literally, Tim, right across the street from the FBI, and I had told them 2 days earlier, if you need me, just give me a call. Okay, now that's the setup. Now the guy who led that op was a guy named Walter Giardina. And whistleblowers have released documents through Senator Grassley's Judiciary Committee that trace this guy Giardina, Tim, to every single effort to take down Donald Trump dating back to 2016. You guys know better than most of this country what the Steele dossier is. That's the fake dossier that tried to tie Donald Trump to Russia that Hillary Clinton paid for. Who was the FBI agent who vetted that dossier and said it was real, not fake? Huh? One of them, Walter Giardina. This was back in 2016. It starts there. He was on that begat Crossfire Hurricane, which was that whole investigation which begat the Mueller report. Now, all of that gave the power to the FBI and the Department of Justice to go out and subpoena records and do this, that, and the surveil, all of that stuff. And then on top of that, and Shane is the only one who knew this. There was another operation called Crimson River,
I knew that.
Red Masari. You knew that?
I knew it too.
Yeah. Now that one was really interesting because that was basically a fishing expedition for subpoenas, surveillance, phone records, everything like that.
$10 million from
Giardina
Egypt
was in charge of that. And then we go to Arctic Frost, which was the biggest of the J6 investigations, which again, so to your point here.
Is this guy fired? What's going on?
Okay, what's going on is he did get fired
Is he going to
a couple
jail?
of weeks ago.
They're going to arrest him?
What I'm hoping, we're going to get more documents from whistleblowers that's going to dig him even deeper. Here's an even funnier thing here, and it's darkly funny. I found out that his father-in-law was a guy named Potts. Why does that matter? Potts used to be the deputy director of the FBI and was the head guy during what? Ruby Ridge and Waco.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay? You can't make this shit up. Okay? So, I mean, you can imagine those dinner table conversations, right?
Yeah.
So my point here, Tim, is that these agents and the people who are running this whole thing on behalf of these politicians, it's like they just want to get us. And I went to prison so you won't have to. It's basically a call to like a wake-up call.
There is the bureaucratic state, the deep state, whatever you want to call it. But the concern that I have is, one, we've seen what Democrats do with power. You went to prison, and Merrick Garland did not.
That's right.
And I'm going to sit here right now and look into the camera and ask Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan, anybody to can they still bring the charges against them? Is it they can indeed. Okay, lock the guy up for the same amount of time that Peter went to jail for.
Get him at an airport.
The whole point,
Put him in leg shackles.
One of the key takeaways from I went to prison so you want to have to is this: if we don't hold them accountable, they will do it again and again and again. And so what we've got to do,
this is what they've always been doing.
What we have to do,
Since the 50s.
With all due respect.
I am all with you, Tim. I want
but
these people investigated, subpoenaed, and if they did what they did, and I know they did it, put them in jail.
But let me just clarify. You say if we don't hold them accountable to do it again. I have to clarify if in any way Democrats are welcome back into power. Look.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right. We can't give them that power.
They let in an estimated, I'm using the low estimate, 10 million illegal immigrants and granted them limbo status. This is massively destructive to any culture, any society.
And economy.
They put you and Steve Bannon in prison. Merrick Garland got away with it. He pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. Joe Biden pardoned his son. We have seen them charge Donald Trump with false felonies and brag about it. They arrested Trump's lawyers. This is the most shocking and egregious thing people need to understand. The Democrats in, I think, Wisconsin and Georgia arrested Donald Trump's lawyers for daring to give him representation. You had, what was the name? Jenna
Ellis.
Jenna Ellis, was that right? Yeah. She was charged with 2 counts of RICO. Why? Trump had requested that she, as a lawyer, draft a letter. She did. They tried to lock her up. She cries, begging, like a coward, I might add.
Yes.
But still.
Thank you.
Still. They went after her, and then she dropped to her knees and please, she begged, don't hurt me anymore. The fact that Democrats charged Trump's lawyers should have told you exactly what time it is in this country.
Tim, let me make this point, okay? Again, I went to prison so you won't have to. Every person that I served with in the Trump White House, every single person, Tim, paid a price. On one end, if they didn't go to jail or get indicted, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars of legal fees. Okay, it's the Dan Scavinos and the Mark Meadows. Mike Flynn cost him $7 million. Or they tried to take, or they're taking away the bar cards of Jeff Clark and John Eastman, or they bankrupted Rudy Giuliani. As you said, they put me and Steve Bannon in prison. People forget they wanted to put Donald Trump in prison for 700 years. And on the other end, of course, they tried to kill the boss twice, and they got my dear brother, Charlie Kirk. This is what they do, okay? This is what they do. We cannot give them back power because they will abuse it. And people have to understand that this justice system is broken. If you have justices ascending into the hierarchy simply for their political affiliations, bad shit's going to happen. And it's happening, Shane.
Rewind to Arctic Frost. Who were they surveilling? TPUSA.
TPUSA.
They were looking into TPUSA.
And Republican senators.
And
Mike Pence and Donald Trump and everybody in between.
And the justice system's totally destroyed. I mean, talking about your
it's a fishing expedition.
how they stripped you of your defense.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the reporters who were at J6 who they didn't allow to even show press credentials.
Let me lay that out.
Let's talk about the media. Let's talk about the fake case against Tenet, me, Benny Johnson, and Dave Rubin.
Yeah.
And I'll stress this. You can say whatever you want about me, okay? Dave Rubin had a show where he reacted to comedy viral videos. It was in no way political. He left after a year, and they falsely try to claim, they lie and manipulate, claiming that Dave was spreading Russian propaganda. The show we licensed, The Culture War, we debate dating, we debate theology. We had a debate on geocentrism. Yes. And they lied. This case that was launched by Democrats was shut down about a month and a half, 2 months after they launched it without evidence. They fabricated evidence using false context, dropped it a couple months later, and then said nothing to the press. These people are willing to do
lawyer fees. That's what they get you.
Of course.
They don't give a shit if they put you behind bars. It's a bonus. If they got me behind bars, it was a bonus. But if they simply strip you of your money and your livelihood, that's a victory for them, sir.
Exactly.
So right now in Portland, judges are ruling, the local police are arresting conservatives. They are ruling on the side of Antifa. The media is running cover for them, claiming Antifa doesn't even exist. And we're seeing this wave of propaganda. Let me show you this. Let's jump to the story. We've got this from the New York Times. Among Portland protests, it's frogs and sharks and bears, oh my. Images of anarchists clad in black gave the city a bad name in 2020. Now demonstrators in Portland are poking fun at Trump's apocalyptic talk with colorful animal suits. Now, the sad thing is, the left is a faction begging for your ignorance.
Yeah.
They see images of unicorns and frogs and they go, what is this? It's a silly little protest. They don't realize that these people are actually violent extremists who have put these costumes on to make it harder for regular people who are just browsing the news to understand what is happening. Here's a video for you to help you understand what's happening. This is out of, I believe, Chicago, where far leftists attacked Nick Shirley and what appears to be a DHS officer. This is them running full speed. We'll skip over the loud noise. I believe is that a DHS guy? Police vehicle pulls up. Yep, federal agent gets inside. Nick Shirley jumps in as well. Smacks the vehicle.
Mexican flag.
Yep. Let me tell you guys. I'm going to bring the point up again. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show when I said I don't care about the worst of the worst criminals. There's a story right now that Democrats are sharing about some Indian guy who went to jail wrongly for 44 years, was just exonerated. And upon being exonerated, he was then quickly arrested and sent to be deported back to, I think, India, where he hadn't lived since he was like 9 or 9 months. I don't know. The point they're making is because this person was wrongly imprisoned and in prison, he is now no longer subject to the law. What we are seeing is, I describe this as the I Am Legend phenomenon, which I've used as an example a million times, probably somewhat incorrectly, but the analogy I use still stands. Simple version is a guy is a vampire hunter. He goes during the day, finds the vampires in their coffins, stakes them and kills them. Over a long enough period of time, the vampires keep spreading. He's losing his battle. Eventually, one day, every single person in society in America are vampires. He is now the strange creature. They tell stories of the evil boogeyman who lurks during sunlight when no one's awake and kills you in your sleep. He has become the monster, despite at one point being the hero of a society. What we're looking at with this video of them with Mexican flags smacking a police vehicle, or in the video described earlier where the alleged illegal immigrant, so we don't know what the resolution of this case was, is screaming "Ayúdame," and they actually intervene and help the man escape police. DHS gives up and walks away.
Yeah.
You are seeing people who are outright saying, your police have no jurisdiction here. Mm-hmm. We don't respect their authority. We don't even view them as meaningful law enforcement. If you bring in, let's put it simply. It's the analogy I use for roommates all the time. Okay, you and your roommate order, or every Friday you say, what should we order for dinner? And then you discuss it. You decide to order pizza. Bring in 5 people from Chinatown and they say, we want orange chicken. And then you're like, well, it doesn't matter. You're not getting pizza ever again. Your will is no longer relevant because the majority has told you what they will take from you. With what Biden did, and not just Biden, but to an extent Obama, but with what Biden did over the past 4 years, bringing in 10, and the high estimate is 20 million people. You now have many. You think it's 20?
It's 20.
So many illegal immigrants in Chicago, for instance, that when ICE shows up with 5 guys to be like, we're going to arrest this illegal immigrant, 300 illegal immigrants go, no, you're not. He's our neighbor. Mm-hmm. You don't operate here anymore. Zoran Mamdani, a great example, in his campaign said, we will protect our community from them. Outright saying to the national American voter who voted for Trump to enforce the law, we are not a part of your country. We are not one with your people. The illegal immigrants are us, and we are taking power in your cities, and we will stop your president from enforcing the law.
The most frightening thing I saw when Biden was in office from a macroeconomist point of view was official government statistics coming out, basically saying there'd be a certain amount of jobs created. But the net was this. You had 500,000 American citizens losing their job and over 1 million, close to 2 million illegal aliens taking those jobs. How does that happen in this country? And it's not just the jobs they take, it's the wages that they depress. I mean, from my point of view, what I do in the White House, it's like manufacturing and job creation. It's like it's the worst nightmare when you're trying to create prosperity in a country and you're bringing in an unlimited source of labor supply to bid down and push people out. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. It's just...
You know, I completely agree, and I think functionally that debate we were having a couple of years ago was extremely important. But I'm actually worried about something else at this point.
I see that, and I'm with you on that. We talked about that a little earlier.
That's people marching down the street with Mexican flags, saying that this country is theirs now.
Yeah.
So many people were let in illegally who do not share our values. They're basically telling us they have colonized us. And I agree with the left. No more colonization. How about that? We all agree colonization is bad. Let's keep America, America, enforce our laws. All of these immigrants are welcome to apply legally and enter our country in a nice single file line.
Well, no, Tim, because here's the thing. Even if your ancestors have been here 100 years, 200 years, 3, even 400 years, longer than that, you're living on stolen land, but someone who crossed the border yesterday is an American and they belong here.
Yep. And that's where we currently are. With the shutdown, for instance, Democrats are actually arguing that if you enter this country illegally, and as soon as a CBP agent tries to arrest you, to deport you, you cry out, asylum!
Yeah.
You're now a legal, lawful entry.
Even though
That all started, by the way, with Democrat judges. Okay, the whole problem we had in the Trump administration was one particular judge who basically legalized using children as get out of jail free cards to come in. All you need, and that created a whole human trafficking source where kids would be rented and they'd bring adults over and they'd claim, okay, so as soon as they got there, well, you got a kid, then you're able to stay. But it's just, again, it gets back to this justice system. It always boils down to that third branch of government. And I don't know how we're going to square that circle, because these people get in there and they're in there for life.
Yeah.
What-
They're in
what-
there
what-
for friggin' life.
What happens when Trump invokes the Insurrection Act to send in the troops to enforce the law in Oregon, California, and Illinois?
Some magistrate judge in Kenosha will strike it down and say, you
But
can't do that.
I'm sure. And then the question will be, even right now with this judge in Illinois, I think the judge is in Illinois, saying Trump can federalize the troops because, of course, he can, but he can't deploy them. Well, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
Trump takes command of the troops, but he can't actually use them in any meaningful way. Makes no sense. If Trump does invoke the Insurrection Act, citing failure to enforce the law, like with allowing rioters to do whatever they want, are we going to come to the point where a judge says Trump's use of the Insurrection Act is void, and then Trump, he's already publicly stated he has the right to do it. So what if Trump says that law is unconstitutional, or that ruling from the judge has no merit whatsoever over the executive branch, and then just says, troops, you are given orders, do them, and then the judge says you are barred from following those orders? Then what? When will someone break? I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Trump will, because with Kilmar Abrego, well, maybe not. With Abrego Garcia, the judge ordered Trump to return him. And at first he didn't, but eventually he did. So I would not be surprised if some low-level federal judge just says Trump can't use the Insurrection Act. I wouldn't be surprised to find Trump saying, okay, I guess I can't. I'll appeal it, I suppose.
I would like to see some of these judges investigated to see who's pulling their strings. I think that's important. When I was in prison, I'll give you a little story. When I was in prison, there was a couple of guys in there who were in for the same kind of bank fraud, loan fraud, that this Federal Reserve member, Lisa Cook, has been accused of. And that, frankly, seems like a open and shut prima facie case that she did it. Now, those guys were in there, and they were serving close to 10 years. Oof. They had their houses seized, and they facing massive restitution when they get out. Yet Lisa Cook is being shielded by the court system. And the other component of this is the media. The media is protecting Pritzker in Illinois, protecting Newsom in California. And it's always these sob stories and things like that we get when the reality is far graver. Pritzker's an interesting guy. I'm burdened by the fact that I actually know these guys and have had to work with them. Like when when the pandemic hit in 2020, I drew the short straw and was the Defense Production Act policy czar. So I was the guy in charge of making sure that we got all of the personal protective equipment we needed on time. I could order the supply chains around to get that. And Pritzker, he'd be calling me, him and Cuomo would be calling me every friggin' day, begging for their allotment of whatever we had in our warehouses. And
Pritzker asking for seconds? I can't imagine.
touche.
You know, he seems like the kind of guy who would really just suck the food out of the room.
Nicely done. And the problem I had with both Cuomo at the time and Pritzker is we were very good about getting stuff efficiently there. I could get stuff faster. I'd like get a Mill airplane and get that shit there and whatever would need it. And then every time he'd thank me in private, he'd go on the friggin' TV and shit all over Donald Trump. It's just
Cuomo.
I mean,
right? Cuomo
this guy, he's a trust fund baby.
Yep.
Who really he doesn't know what misery's like, and he will do anything. Him and Newsom will say or do anything. They're all cut from the same cloth. And the problem is they're just leveraging this situation so that they can move up the ladder. It's going to be Pritzker.
He's not getting up a ladder, dude. Pritzker's not getting up any ladder.
No, well,
maybe an elevator.
No, that's the problem.
I'm sorry,
These
I'm making
people
a bad
have
joke.
these people have illusions of grandeur. I can tell you, when he goes to bed at night, he doesn't count sheep. He doesn't even count Big Macs. He counts like how many times he can get in the White House. So, you know,
Can he get to the door? I don't know.
yeah.
But I'm not. I feel like that kind of politics is meaningless to me. 'Cause I agree. I think you're correct.
But that's what's driving the dilemma you're talking about here with the courts, at least.
I don't think so.
You don't think the politics of that are driving us towards a constitutional crisis?
I think the crisis we have in this country is the bifurcation of the younger generations morally, and you have a multicultural democracy on the left and a constitutional republic on the right. There is literally nothing you can say to a slob like Pritzker that is going to get him to actually do his job the way this country requires him to do it. You argue that, correctly I say, that he's trying to move up the ladder and do all these things. Yeah. But the problem is he's looking down the ladder and he's seeing AOC and far left communists who don't care about how the country functions. And he's thinking, I will do whatever they want to gain power. That level of politics from Pritzker and to a certain degree Brennan Johnson, but he's more like in the Mamdani AOC camp. From the older guys, this is a problem that goes out the window in 10 years.
I get that. Yeah. We're going to have a whole new generation of Mondamis rather than Pritzkers.
And it's not Pritzker being like, I'm going to get the ladder that I'm worried about. Yeah. It's Mamdani saying, we need to kill these people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
We've got Jay Jones. You want to know how terrifying the situation is right now? That people, look, I just got back from Phoenix and Austin. It was very, very fun when I was in Austin playing poker on the Lodge stream with regular people. Hannah was pretty political, but we got along swimmingly. In fact, she actually, turns out we agree on a lot of things. And she was like, I thought you were going to be really mean. It was great. And when you separate yourself from politics, you sit there and you look around at this beautiful world of fun. I had 2 ice cream sundaes on Thursday, 2 of them, because I was like, I am going to carb load because I was just so exhausted. But what's really happening is you're just hiding. You are ignorant of what is really going on in this country. And getting back, seeing how people react outside, I understand why they think nothing is happening in this country and nothing will change. But the example that I've given, I posted these photos from Egypt during the revolution. During the revolution in Egypt, the military coup, they called it, everything's normal. I posted a video of it. Just cars driving down the road. You hear honking. I'm in a hotel room. Nothing changes for the overwhelming majority of this country. What I'm deeply concerned about is that you've got people like Zoran Mamdani who literally say them will protect our community, multicultural democracy. You've got young people being raised in a society where their moral worldview is a mirror image of yours. So on this trip, I had a discussion with Roseanne about it. And she says she supports free speech, Second Amendment, Constitution. And it's funny because liberals say the exact same thing, right? Well, here's the interesting thing. The Constitution has never meant one thing. When the Bill of Rights was ratified, free speech did not mean blasphemy. You went outside and blasphemed, you got arrested.
Yep.
Where's my free speech, right? It didn't exist. Now we have some version of it that the right agrees upon, even Christians allowing people to blaspheme and curse and be obscene in their language. The left says, I believe in free speech. What does that mean? It means no hate speech, of course. Don't be offensive to marginalized groups. That's the First Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment, they say. What does that mean? It means that a government-regulated militia can have guns. We understand they think those things, they make those arguments. But what happens when that group is totally bifurcated from the right and thinks that Trump is in violation of the Constitution? He's not. Trump is upholding the Constitution as we know it. When they get in power, they violate the Constitution as we know it. So I was talking, again, with my conversation with Aaron McIntyre earlier, I came to the realization that there's an inevitability, essentially, so long as these two worldviews persist. And I don't see how you're going to eliminate the leftist worldview or the right-wing worldview. They exist. And that is, would any of us tolerate another 4 years of 20 million non-citizens being welcomed into this country? An action like what we saw under Biden was only tolerated because the people of this country believed that we could change this, that the problem could be solved.
Yep.
And so Trump ended up winning the popular vote. Republicans won in Congress by a slim majority. They won the Senate. They've already got the Supreme Court. If the Democrats were to get in power again and reignite those policies, I fear the worst. Now let's think about the inverse. Are Democrats going to sit by with 20 million illegal immigrants and allow the military to enter their states or be commandeered from their states by Donald Trump to start arresting and deporting these people? Even Joe Rogan has come out and said, let them stay.
I mean,
Rogan has said
Yep.
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
He said have a heart, which is, look, the idea.
His Spotify contract must be up for renewal or something.
No, I think
That's insane. I'm sorry.
I think with
that's
all due
insane.
respect, I think
Yeah.
Joe understands what time it is. And I don't want to, I try to be diplomatic. And so I always try to give grace to Rogan for what I feel indebted to him for, not just in helping me with my show, my career, and giving me a platform, but also he covered our medical expenses during COVID. He's a really good dude. All that being said, because he is a prominent personality in this space, I do think it's important that I provide critique where I think some is due. And I mean this with the utmost respect to a very good man. I think he's saying these things because he's terrified that they're trying to kill us. And they literally killed Charlie Kirk. And Benny Johnson, let's jump to the story. From NBC News, DOJ charges man with sending threatening letter to pro-Trump influencer Benny Johnson. Pam Bondi announced the charges at a news conference in which Johnson argued that violence had been mainstreamed by the Democrat Party. I have received a plethora of death threats myself, and I've been in contact directly with the FBI over them, answering questions about what is currently going on, because we are getting a large amount. One was very particular, credible, and there's a little bit. It's basically, I don't want to read through it because I don't want to compromise any of their investigation. But they said that they were going to come here and they were going to turn me into what Charlie Kirk is. My point in the previous segment, for those that are just tuning in now, Joe Rogan recently made a comment saying, have a heart. These ICE policies don't work. If someone's been here for 20 years, just let them stay. My personal opinion, with all due respect to Joe, is that, and this guy backed Trump. Trump is using military now. He used the Marines and the National Guard in California to shut down child slavery on a marijuana farm and to defend federal buildings. Now, I think it is morally clear. California had child slave labor on pot farms.
That's right.
If Trump wants to send in the Marines to go do that, I stand and applaud shutting down child slavery that has been allowed to run rampant. But Democrats are claiming it's Nazism. It is the SS. It is the Gestapo coming in, hunting people down in their homes, kidnapping their neighbors and black bagging them. Mm-hmm. And I think Joe, a very smart man, recognizes more than most what is currently happening in this country. So when he says, have a heart and let him stay, he's engaging in what I have referred to as to play on Pascal's wager. We can call it Trump's wager. Or maybe Seamus came up with a better name for it. Seamus, do you want to explain Pascal's wager real quick for everybody?
Yeah, so there's some nuance to it because it existed in like a very specific cultural and historic context. But the general idea, the way it's usually expressed now, is if you have to bet, you're forced to choose one position or the other, and you can choose to believe God exists or you can choose to believe that he doesn't exist. If you believe that he exists, you will benefit because you'll go to heaven. You'll also have lived a good life if you truly live like he actually existed. If you don't believe in him, you'll go to hell if he's not real, or if he is real, sorry. But if he's not real, there's no benefit to you. That's basically...
So
again, when it's used, that was a specific time when it was like literally a country where it was like Catholicism versus atheism, because atheists will go like, well, why are there only two choices? But sorry,
the argument is
we
this.
won't get into all of it.
If God exists and I believe in him, I go to heaven. If God exists and I don't, I go to hell. If God doesn't exist, it doesn't matter. Either way, so you might as well just believe he exists because it's the only real threat you face.
Yeah.
Hell or nothing. So in politics, we can come up with a term for it. I forgot what I called it, but it's this wager. If you are on the left and the right wins, you are totally fine because the right is not going to go and gulag their political opponents.
That's right.
If you are on the right and the right wins, congratulations, you've won. If you're on the left and the left wins, congratulations, you've won. If you are on the right and the left wins, you will be put in a gulag. So if you are trying to avoid politics, the best thing you can do is just be on the left. Because when the right wins, if they do, you're fine. And so I see Joe's commentary over the past couple of weeks, and it seems very much... Hey, whoa, I'm actually on the left, guys. I'm backing away from this. This is getting crazy. This is getting scary. I think Joe recognized what time it is. He's having a lot of comedians on his podcast. And I will say this too, not that it means anything, but when we reached out to him to let him know a month in advance that I was going to be in Austin, he passed. So there have been a lot of critiques over him having on a lot of personalities that are either pro-left, leaning left, or not commenting in the space and not having anyone on to counter that narrative.
This is a world without morality or principles, though, that you're describing. I mean, if we're going to live in that world, then nothing has meaning and nothing matters. Tim, I am absolutely certain if the Democrats get power, they'll try to put me back in prison. They'll try to put you in prison.
Agreed.
They'll try to put Trump in prison.
Yeah, there's no question.
Well,
And that's what the stakes is, and Pascal's wager notwithstanding, I'm siding with what is right, with a small r, and what is best for this country and what this country stands for. And if we're going to be, I went to prison. Okay, it's like people in this country, they got to stand up for what they believe in, or we lose this country. Tim, I think it's all about.
I don't know if I have the post on X. But I never posted this video from Egypt before until this past week. I think I was in Phoenix when I posted it, so let me see if I can pull it up. But I think I just posted a photo of it. People genuinely don't understand that what we are witnessing right now, you go outside and everything seems fine, and you're like, oh, what's the big deal, right? Actually, I want to show you this too, so I can tell you what time it is. So let's start here. Someone threatened to kill Benny Johnson. The DOJ went after him. This is good news. But take a look at this. Benny posted this. Democrat Virginia AG candidate Jay Jones, who openly called for the murder of Republicans and their children, has taken a major hit in the polls. Miares is up 6. They were just about tied before. And so Jones has dropped about 3 points. If you're a Democrat and it is exposed that you said the children of Republicans should be murdered, and that if you had the option, you would kill the Republican speaker over Hitler, you lose only 3 points.
It gets even worse than that. If you say people shouldn't kill children before they're born, you will lose every single vote in the Democratic Party.
But is this a function of the illiteracy of too many folks not paying attention, or being fed that story in a way which made it seem like it wasn't as big a deal? That's the problem with the media.
Or they agree with
Let's take a look at this one.
Or they agree with him. Yeah.
Andrew Colvett tweeted this. Less than a month removed from Charlie's assassination in Utah, the Salt Lake Tribune published this cartoon entitled The Hole in the Head Gang, depicting a wanted poster with elected officials from the state with a red scarf around their necks and some numbers, I guess. Rep. Mike Kennedy, Celeste Moy, Burgess Owens, for failure to honor their oaths and protect and defend the Constitution from dictatorial whims of a malignant clown. Your Utah reps. This is him calling for them to be murdered. That's what time it is in this country. And I'm scrolling down to try and find this because I posted this photo a couple weeks ago, and I'll grab it. I have to go back in time pretty far to find it. Seamus, say something funny.
This is it's not going to be funny.
Come on, comedy man, make us laugh.
This just kind of goes back to the thing that I was saying earlier, which is The left has essentially always existed to justify like the slaughter of innocent people and children and Christian children.
But the left in the U.S. hasn't
It hasn't been so.
It hasn't been like this possibly since the 60s and like late 60s, early 70s.
Well,
it really did. It really kind of went to sleep, and you had a sense, at least, and when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, you had a sense that everybody kind of agreed about basic Americanism, right? You didn't have people that came out and openly hated the United States, or at least they weren't really well known. They weren't given
but
positions that you knew about.
Well, and this is my point. They've only not done this when they've been marginalized. So at that time, the culture was on the side of shunning people who said that they hated America, shunning people who called for
Let's be clear, though,
political
this
violence.
is a numbers game. I mean, Shane mentioned the Weather Underground, right? I was like 19, 20 in college when that was going on. It like hits pretty close to home. And the people I knew who were on the left, they didn't side with that stuff. That was like, what the hell's going on? The problem now is if you look at the Menominee numbers in New York, the guy's polling close to 50%. And the things he stands for are batshit crazy.
Yeah, antithetical to
Batshit crazy.
I just pulled the video up. Let's play this video. Here you go, everybody. Here's Egypt.
And this is during.
This is the day of the second revolution. So let's pull it up again. So this is the day of the second revolution. Actually, I think this is a couple days before the second revolution. No, this might be the day of. You can see there's a large crowd in Tahrir. Other than that, everything else was operating as normal. Cars were driving around. You can see that here's the beautiful Nile River with boats. Look at that. People are on this boat. How beautiful is that? Crossing over the bridge. What do people expect to see? Buildings exploding and fire
They expect
everywhere.
it to look like Gaza right now. That's what they expect.
They don't understand that what you're concerned about is limited. Actually, I'll put it this way. You ever see that thing, like those science videos where they're like, did you know if you took every human on Earth and clumped them into a ball, it would barely fill Chicago or something like that? They seem to think that humans are in literally every square inch of the planet. And when fighting happens, it's like that scene from Kingsman where everyone in the church is fighting each other. Instead of most people just living their lives like normal. And then you know what it'll be like if a civil war were to happen in this country? We'd be sitting here being like, so the fences got torn down at the ICE facility and rioters attacked federal law enforcement. When reporters went, they got arrested by oh, wait. The stories are going to be like that. Now, granted, to be fair, we're more likely in like bleeding Kansas type scenario, which was the precursor. We saw this with the Andrew Yang saying he was going to move to Georgia to affect their political, structures or whatever back in, 2020? So that was very much bleeding Kansas. We see the riots. But now we are very much dangerously close to more of a Fort Sumter scenario where Trump is trying to take command of state National Guards to enforce federal law, and they are resisting. It's not just one state anymore. It's not just some states in the South facing the civil rights era. This is 50-50, as you were mentioning, Peter. And we are now looking at the entirety of the left youth not caring about what we want because our Constitution is garbage to them. This is a white supremacist country that needs to be destroyed. And the right saying, we won, we're going to enforce the law. So what happens in the next several years? It's going to get absolutely crazy. Not to mention, we can also talk about the AI stuff, which I think is going to lead us. Let's actually do that.
Yeah.
We've got this from Deadline. Sora 2 is here. What that means for comedian discovery and ticketing. I don't really I'll care that much about comedian discovery and ticketing, but I just wanted a source talking about the arrival of Sora 2, which is the absolutely craziest AI video editor there is right now. Now, a series of Jake Paul videos have gone massively viral. I can't show some of them because they're basically, I think 80% are him just screaming the N-word nonstop. But I'll play this one for you. Let's play this video.
Babe's first piece, look at this little cardigan. She's pastel pink ribbed and so soft.
Yo, this AI is getting out of hand. It's honestly not even
Yo,
fun.
Jake, you want a Celsius?
Celsius? Yes, bitch, I'll be trying.
I think that's actually Jake Paul. So he's been making fun of a lot of these videos. I don't know which of these I can play.
Yeah.
Like, clearly, Jake Paul in a plane with a
Not
Burger
that
King
one.
crown on
Yeah, not
is
that
him
one.
screaming the N-word. So here you have fat Jake Paul. These videos are they look real.
They do.
They're
very much.
They're indistinguishable. By this time next year, they will all be indistinguishable and easily made.
I mean,
we're going to get a video of, it's going to be Zoran Mamdani what I'm concerned about is not a video of Trump coming out and saying a racist thing. That might trick some boomers. I'm concerned about, as I've long mentioned, a video of a politician doing something very believable. So let's say there's the example I often give, Donald Trump, very fine people hoax. He said, there were very fine people on both sides, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. And even now, we had on, who was that? Was it Tara Palmieri, I think her name was? Yep. She did not know Trump condemned the neo-Nazis and white supremacists after a decade, nearly a decade. Now, what happens if someone takes a video like that and changes it so Trump says, there were very fine people on both sides, and I am not talking about the neo-Nazis and white nationalists because some should be condemned totally. They change but a simple word from they to some. Then when you try convincing a liberal Trump condemned them, they pull up the video of Trump saying some should be condemned. And they're like, he only said some of them should be condemned. And if you go, that video's not real, he said they, then a journalist comes out and goes, I was there, I'm pretty sure he said some. I can't really remember for sure. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen. And we're there now.
You don't need AI to do that. Exactly. I did an interview for the book, I Went to Prison So You Won't Have to, with PBS. Okay? And I went in there under the promise that they'd shoot the whole thing, they'd release the whole thing. The next day, what they did was they took a portion of it and edited it in a way which did not reflect the reality of it. And then half of it was the host basically pontificating to rebut whatever it was I was saying. And we saw that during the campaign for president. And I love the fact that Trump sued a number of networks for doing that kind of crap. But see, that's the essence of the fake news. That's the essence of the fake news. And AI is going to make it a million times.
It's going to destroy reality.
My point is, a great example is Daniel Negreanu. I'm a big fan. He's a great poker player. Told us the story about how he got red-pilled. And it was literally, he had genuinely believed Trump defended neo-Nazis. He had seen the video of Trump saying very fine people over and over again, and he didn't know there was a fuller video until one day, another one of his buddies he'd known for a long time finally said, Daniel, watch the video. Slammed the phone on the table, slid it over and pressed play, and he went, fine, I'll watch. And then he was shocked to see the video of Trump saying, and not the neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Yeah. With AI, that won't happen. He'll go, no, this is fake. Watch. He'll take the phone, change it, slide it back over, and press play on the fake video.
Right, because you're talking about deceptive editing. You know, Jon Stewart was doing that all the time with politicians, but now they're adding to reality. So it'll make reality irrelevant, right?
My only point was this shit's been going on. AI's just going to make it a million times worse.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a video
in the left wing media. It's just, I mean, if you just look at the studies that have been done, like, because I was there from the inception, 2016. Like, my role was to go out and talk the economy and economic policy, and it was an eye opener for me. I'm a professor. I live in a world of facts and truth and reality, and I'm seeing all this stuff. What are you doing? And then it's like, what do they find? Something like 92% of the media coverage of Trump in the first term was negative. And meanwhile, the economy's going up, wages are going up, we got peace all around the world, and life's good, and the border's sealed, and 92%. And then you go to Biden, and it's just the opposite. You know, it's like he got 8% criticism.
There's a really good example of this right now that I don't know if you guys have seen this video. There's a video of people are claiming that it's ICE arresting a 15-year-old. Did you see this one?
Yeah, it's not.
And the DHS came out and said this is a video from a year ago of a Chicago resident arrested by local police who was committing felony robberies. But the left has taken the video and just lied and claimed it's an illegal immigrant child being attacked by ICE.
And people that want to believe that, you will never be able to talk them out of it.
That's it.
Right? You as much as like AI is a problem, like you said, like people are already believing these. If these videos didn't have the Sora watermark, And there was a video that confirmed someone's prior opinion, something that made Trump look bad, something that made Biden or Newsom look bad. The people that view them, they're not gonna believe that it's anything other than the truth. You're like, no, look, it's AI. They won't believe it. And to be honest with you, I imagine there are people that even if it had the Sora watermark on it, they would still say, well, that's probably true.
Right.
I think that probably, like, maybe they put the watermark on it. Maybe it's actually real.
Look what Jussie Smollett got away with.
100%.
Look, people believed in the ghost of Kiev. You know,
a little dirty little secret about the media. It's like you look at the people who you actually see on TV. I mean, they're certainly part of the problem, but an even bigger part of the problem is the producers and editors.
Oh yeah,
that run all that stuff.
They gatekeep reality.
They drive all the stories. The anchors are too lazy or too busy to actually do their homework. I was in New York. For the September 11th thing. My fiancée, Bonnie, on the cover here, she was at World Trade Center area the day of 9/11. So we went to the ceremony, saw Rudy and all of that. And but I met with the New York Times editorial board. They asked to hear about trade policy, and so I met with the publisher, Sulzberger, 20 others there. And the last thing I said to him was, I left, I said, I got this book coming out. I went to prison so you won't have to. Would you do me a favor this time? Would you treat it fairly? Because the first 2 books I wrote on Trump should have been on the bestseller list.
all political.
Should have been on the bestseller list. And sure enough, this time around, we did the numbers on it. This thing should have been on the top 15. And it wasn't. And again, why am I telling this story? Because this is what the fake news does. They suppress us.
Yep.
Well, right now, Congressman Raja in the area says, in fact, the video is of ICE. And when you actually Google search it, you can't figure it out. And so we're already at this point where the best understanding that I have is that the left is just lying about it because no one is explicitly stating this is ICE. They're saying weaselly things like police were in Hoffman Estates. ICE was seen near Hoffman Estates in this area. So, while others are saying this is a video of local police because the people, the law enforcement in the video aren't wearing DHS. They're wearing blue.
Now, let's remember who programs Google, right? It's all a left wing. And the same problem.
It was born out of DARPA.
I mean, you get on ChatGPT and you try to get a proper read of an issue, and it's like it's the list.
It hallucinates
point of view.
It doesn't tell you the proper history.
Shit out and they put shit in that isn't necessarily fact. That's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. And it's weird because we are a 50-50 country, but at the end of the day, I think that we're way over 50 in terms of what we believe in consistently resonating with public opinion, yet it's not reflected by the mainstream media. Yeah. It's nothing mainstream about the media. Let's call it the legacy. What do you guys call it?
Legacy is what we call it.
Corporate press, legacy media.
I last time I was on Rogan, actually, he asked me about AI video, and I said I didn't think it was that big of a deal because I think, of all the things to get wrong, I got this one dead wrong. I was like, no, I don't think so. I think we see fake videos and out of context stuff all the time. People are going to have to fact check it. But the new Sora 2 stuff is so absolutely realistic. I was hanging out with Michael Malice in Austin, and we were going through videos, and some of them are really obvious, like when Hitler and Jesus are having a lightsaber duel. I think it's pretty obvious that's not real. There are some videos where, it is absolutely insane, where Goku is fighting anime Hitler, and it looks real. Apparently, people have been using Sora 2 to make full episodes of South Park, and it is crazy. They animate second by second, scene by scene, and it gets the voices perfect. That's how crazy this stuff is getting. I didn't know the extent that we were going to see this stuff. And it is going to get absolutely bonkers next year when the videos are better than they are now. So anyway, I digress. When we were hanging out with Mouse, some of them were obviously fake. And then there was one where it was like a guy in a fast food restaurant. It's like a guy in a fast food restaurant talking about how he was ordering a new meal they had. And it just auto-played. And then Michael was like, wait, that one was AI? And I was like, yeah, bro, they're all AI. The one that was... So the point is, if you go on Sora and you say Jake Paul, riding a unicycle across a tightrope, people are going to know it's fake. But if you made a video where it's Jake Paul buying a sports drink and then saying what up to a fan, people won't know if it's real or not because it's incredibly plausible. That's where we're at now.
They've been injecting those types of videos, not even the AI ones. Like every viral video, in my opinion, that you see on Twitter that happens on an airplane, fake. They're all staged. They're all staged. It's like some CIA laboratory where they're like, just do something crazy with right-left politics, and it's almost always fake.
The fake one that goes viral every day of the guy who gets threatened to get kicked off a plane because he won't give his name, but he's got a badge.
Right.
And it's just all fake. They started with these fake high school videos where the teacher does something and then the student gives lip, and it's clearly a rented boardroom where they're just actors faking it for viral videos.
Tiffany Gomez started all this. I think
that the guy.
I think she faked that.
Real.
The problem's complicated
the guy with the Burger
by the
King
fact
hat's
that
probably
nobody
real.
really reads anything in depth anymore. They more and more rely on that kind of consumption of product, and there's nothing to ground them in reality. I mean, where's the real news source?
We do have to jump to this one story, which is less newsy, but still important. This is from the Express Tribune. Pokimane and Lily Pichu cancel podcast episode with Hassan amid animal abuse scandal. So for those that didn't know, over the past several days, a video has gone viral that many claim shows Hassan Piker shocking his dog with a shock collar for getting up and moving off of her bed during the stream.
It's messed up.
Hassan denied this by showing off what he said was a vibration collar that clearly has a charging point and electrical tape over what appears to be prong ports for the electroshock collar. Well, the story is going massively viral because he denied it. Here's a video saying here's a 4-hour time lapse of the dog getting shocked every time she tries to leave outside of the view of camera. I'll play this video because I think this video actually has the point in question where he electrocutes the dog, or is it allegedly?
Of all of America's much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
So you can see that.
Now, why did that dog suddenly experience pain, I wonder?
He reaches over, and if you, hey Peter, if you're gonna eat that, we're gonna hear it in the microphone very much. You chewing and eating. He reaches his left hand over, and then you hear the dog yelp and go back and sit down. And now we have an update from live stream fail. It says Hassan notices shock collar remote on his stream, and oh boy, here's the stream. Apparently, right here in the bottom corner is the shock collar remote. He then slides it out of frame. Does anybody know if that's actually the shock collar remote? It is.
No clue.
Boom.
That right there, is that what it looks like?
Yep.
Well, apparently that's it. So look, at this point, come on, the dude's electrocuting his dog.
Yep. So we did a cartoon about this that we released this past Friday over on Freedom Tunes, and it did pretty well. And on Twitter, it actually went pretty viral. It has like over 1 million views on Twitter. And so some of his fans found it and were not happy. But it is genuinely some of the most hilarious criticism I've ever gotten. In the video, I said, I think we called the dog a boy or something, or he says he, and the dog's a she. And one of the people who were angry said, pretending to care about a dog when you don't even know their gender is insane.
So here's an image.
That might be the best
Very
criticism
good.
I've ever gotten in my entire career.
If you want to pull this image up, you can see the dog is wearing what appears to be a collar. And then we have this image where Hassan came out the next day and said it's a vibration collar. The only problem is many people have pointed out that the vibration model doesn't have this little clip right here. He's got electrical tape over the bottom of it where you can see 2 holes which coincide with the shock collar's prong ports, as well as a charging port near his finger. The vibration model doesn't have any of those things because it doesn't electrocute animals. So, yeah. And they're claiming to have found it. So this would mean that Hassan has trained his dog via shock collar to sit in the same place for the 4+ hours or however long he's live streaming and not move at all, lest he zap it.
That's an insane thing to do to an animal. That's
absolutely.
an insane thing to do.
Guys, I
There's a video he's got where he's tied the dog down tied the dog there to get the dog to learn to stay there.
Really?
Yeah. I have it's on.
So we can have it on camera. So let me show you guys something. This is a tweet I put. I said, "Hey Ed Krasen and Krasenstein, you guys want to take a walk? You want to pull this up? Take a walk through K-Town in Chicago to prove Trump wrong." For those that don't know, K-Town is it's the West Side, and all of the blocks start with the letter K. So, I don't know, Colvar, Kilpatrick, Costner. So the streets in Chicago run north to south. So where I lived, we have all of these same street names, but we're near 55th and 63rd. This is up in the West Side, closer to I think, the 2600 block. K-Town is historically one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago. And Pritzker and a lot of these liberals like to go to the nice areas of downtown and then act like it's look how safe it is. So I tweeted this at him, and the reason I bring it up in this context of Hassan is first, Brian responded with, "I'll do it right after you spend a night fact-checking Trump's speeches in front of his rally crowd." We've literally watched tons of Trump speeches and debates on this show in real time, but by all means, whatever.
Also, is he saying you should be on stage fact-checking him? Because he says in front of his rally crowd.
Anyway, he said, "All kidding aside, if you want to pay for our flight, 2-night stay, all meals, and $1,000 a day in lost income, I'd happily do it." To which I said, let's get Nick Shirley and you guys to do a mini doc on Chicago crime together. But many other people pointed out, immediately it's pay me.
Yeah.
So here's my point with Hassan. Hassan is willing, according to these stories, to electrocute a dog to look good on camera, to have a prop on camera. He will electrocute a dog. We are having, so we're postponing our culture war event for this Saturday because of the No Kings protest principally. But another big issue we faced in terms of logistics was that Naima Trout, a leftist, canceled on us because the initial $500 she requested eventually decided wasn't enough. And they wanted $5,000 from us. Jesus. And I said, nah. We then immediately offered some other leftists $5,000 because we thought it'd be funny if they took it, which they didn't respond to, apparently.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because we were like, no, we're not going to give it to you. We'll give it to somebody else, though. I could imagine them being like, wait, they paid you and not me. But the point is, liberals are fake. They don't care about this country. I should say liberal high priests are largely fake. The Krasensteins post all day about crime in Chicago and Trump's National Guard. And then they say, well, I can't lose the income to prove that I'm right. Whereas I miss a week of shows to go onto other people's shows for free on my own dime to talk about what I think is happening and what I think is important. So I went on Brendan Schaub and Brian Cowan's podcast, spent my own money to get there, and they paid me nothing to go on the show. Went on Roseanne's show, same deal, spent my own money, missed 2 episodes so far. Went on the WPT poker stream to do a cross-promotional thing. To be fair, not really a political thing, but I thought it would be important that I make appearances in spaces that aren't overly political so that people can, I can try and be influential in other spaces, which eventually will lead back to the things that I believe in. And to be fair, they covered the cost of travel for me in that regard. So it did help with the rest of it. I'll be, full disclosure. Went on Devory Darkin's podcast. Once again, he paid me nothing. So why can't these liberals just stand up for what they believe in like all of us are willing to do?
Because they don't believe in what they talk about.
Agreed.
They have no moral center.
I got to thank you, Tim, for that $50,000 you didn't.
Oh, of course, right.
Okay.
Well, there's also the point that the left, if you step out of line, the left will excoriate you.
That's right.
You'll have people disavowing you. They'll do things to actually try to harm you. Likely start by harming whatever your platform or business is, like streamers and stuff. But just the whole Pokimane and Hassan stuff, right? So Hassan did this. Pokimane's team saw that Hassan did this, so they canceled an appearance that she had with him, and that's typical of the left. So getting the left to come on here isn't just about getting them to come to a place where they feel like the discussion will not be friendly to them. They're going to see negative responses from their viewers and their audience for coming on.
Yeah. Conover, when he came on the Culture War and we did our debate conversation, I told him we'd love to have him out for our Culture War live events. And, we don't normally pay people for appearances, but I understand he's a busy guy. So we're actually planning big ones. The ones we've done have been the small bar events with 200 seats. We were like, no, we're talking about 2,000 seats. If we do that, we will pay a fee to all of our speakers for coming. And he's like, really? And we're like, yeah. Since that episode aired, he's just like, sorry, I really appreciate it. Can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make a point about the Hassan thing, too. I wanted to kind of respond to what you were saying.
You support Hassan and agree with what he did?
What? Why would
He's
you?
in a shock collar right now.
No. Dude, one of the...
Can't trust a spoon thief.
It just gets crazy to me.
I
I know.
vibrates there.
It's just insane to me that after all the things Hassan has called for in Minecraft, right, quote unquote,
True.
He's getting in trouble for the way he treated a dog. Like he's said things
oppressor.
about people. I know, it's just insane.
The dog is oppressed by him, so he's become the oppressor.
He presses the button.
That one was bad.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, look. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that he's doing his best to cover. You know, obviously he doesn't want people to know that he has used physical force to train the dog because he knew that he would get this kind of backlash. And again, if you do something that your community sees as bad, they're going to do everything they can to harm you, harm your business, etc.
We should just get imagine. I'm not saying we should, but imagine getting a list of his quotes that he said about people and just changing them to dog themed sayings. like I'm just gonna say it. Old Yeller deserved to get rabies.
Yo, check this out. Here's the image of the mini educator. You can see the antenna and the round circular whatever and the shot collar. And then when we scroll up right here, that looks like it.
Looks like it.
Yeah. I don't know for sure. I mean, but it is funny how he grabs it and slides it slowly forward.
If I'm not mistaken, this man said America deserves 9/11 or deserved 9/11. Am I incorrect? Yes.
He did.
But then this is the thing that gets him canceled. And don't get me wrong, I don't like that he did this either, and I'm glad it's something that's an insane way to treat an animal, but bro, come on.
Could you imagine
the guy
what would
should
have
have had
happened?
his career ended way sooner.
Could you imagine what would happen if people were like, "Did you shock your dog?" He went, "Yeah." And they'd be like, "Why would you do that?" And be like, "Well, I bought a shot collar. They sell them on Amazon." And then people were like, "Yo, you shouldn't do it." He could have went, "Is it really that bad?" I don't know. I was just the pet store recommended it, so I bought it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. It'd be over. It'd be done.
Well, but I don't even think it's so much the method of punishment, though that has something to do with it. It's punishing a dog for moving. I think people are also just upset that regardless of how they feel about a shock collar, a dog should not be forced to just sit on a pad like that all day.
And the funny thing is, he's got a big house. He could literally just put the dog outside the room and close the door.
Having
prop.
Having the dog sit there because Hassan streams for something like 10 hours a day.
I think this.
What are the odds? What are the odds this thing was made in China?
Oh, 100%.
Shock collar or the dog?
having the dog sit there.
They market tested on humans up in the slave labor camps.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, having this thing sit there for 10 hours or even half the time for 5 hours, that's a big dog.
Yeah.
And the type of dog that it is, it's a working dog. It needs to be out getting exercise and stuff like that. Having it sit there for 5 or longer hours a day is arguably more cruel than shocking it.
Not made in
Made
China?
in the USA.
No
Oh,
kidding.
he's actually going to get in more trouble for that.
Proudly assembled in the USA. So the components may be
You
from all over the
sure?
world.
Yeah.
So it says in Amazon, it says proudly assembled in the USA.
Oh, see, there it is.
Assembled.
So what that means?
Hang on.
That means the base
Right there.
components.
That's the bullshit. Okay, the assembled in the USA. It's all Chinese parts.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Well, it could
I
be
do this
Vietnam.
shit for a
it could
living.
be, it
I
could be
can
Taiwan.
tell you. that-
You don't think that electric components may have come from Taiwan?
I'll tell you. One of the things I'm working on right now. It's on this thing called transshipping. Okay, the idea is that when Donald Trump put in all the China tariffs back in the first term, it set off this gold rush in China, basically to move all its production to these other countries, and then the other countries send the stuff to us and they get the lower tariffs. But what we're learning from that whole exercise is that it's all about Chinese parts and they assemble them in Mexico or Vietnam or even here. No, I bet you that if you look at the value of the content of that, Tim, it's probably 90% Chinese.
Well, probably. Yeah. Let's go to your Rumble rants and super chats. So smash the like button, share the show right now with literally everyone you know. We have the uncensored members-only show coming up at 10 p.m. You don't want to miss it, so join the Discord server at timcast.com. Get involved. Tens of thousands of people hanging out, partying, pre-shows, after shows. They're hanging out and they're wondering why you're not there to be friends with them. Join, support the work we do, and don't forget to go to Timcast Premium to sign up for Rumble Premium for the uncensored portion coming up in just a little bit. But let's grab your rants and chats. Buck Bolt says, did y'all see the DOJ just defended the National Firearms Act of 1934 as constitutional? What happened to Trump promising positive gun reforms and repeals? Gun owners won't show in 2026.
Gun owners are very fickle, and I do, like, they did defend the NFA and stuff, but I don't think that is indicative of them being anti-gun. And just straight up, honestly, like, the option is the Democrats that want to ban all guns. So, I mean, yeah, maybe Donald Trump isn't perfect, but I do think that he's actually good on the Second Amendment. But the idea that we're not going to go vote for him, so let the Democrats win, that's cutting your nose off to spite your face.
Buck Bolt says, tired of being treated as a second-class right. It's the most important amendment in the Constitution. Without it, none of the others exist. We need voice like Timcast to boost this message.
It's true. It is treated like a second-class right, even though, SCOTUS has articulated plainly that the Second Amendment is not a second-class right, which is why they will eventually take an assault weapons ban or a semi-automatic rifle question. The SCOTUS will see that probably this coming year. They will take a magazine capacity case, and they're going to treat those as if they are, they're going to treat your rights as if they are as important as your right to free speech or your right to not, to be free of illegal searches and seizures.
We're going to grab more in a second, but we do have a great sponsor, my friends. It is joincrowdhealth.com. Use promo code TIM, of course. It's open enrollment, the season where health insurance companies hope you'll blindly sign up again for overpriced premiums and confusing fine print. Don't just take someone else's word. Trust yourself and take control of your future with Crowd Health, the healthcare alternative for people who make their own decisions. Healthcare for under $100. You get access to a team of health bill negotiators, low-cost prescription and lab testing tools, as well as a database of low-cost, high-quality doctors vetted by Crowd Health. And what if something major happens? You pay the first $500, then the Crowd steps in to fund the rest. It feels like the options we used to have before Obamacare messed everything up. And of course, you'll join the Crowd, a group of members just like you who want to help pay for each other's unexpected medical events. The system is betting you'll stay stuck in the same overpriced, overcomplicated mess. And this year, it's even more complicated because most of the ACA subsidies expire, which means your prices are going sky high. So far, Crowd Health members have saved over $40 million in healthcare expenses because they refuse to overpay for healthcare. This open enrollment, take your power back. Join Crowd Health to get started. For $99 for your first 3 months, use code TIM at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com, code TIM. Crowd Health is not insurance. Opt out. Take your power back. That's how you win. Joincrowdhealth.com/Tim. Let's get back to your chats and rants.
I'm going to head out, Tim.
Get it.
Thank you guys for having me. Peter, pleasure.
All right, my brother.
You guys can join me at Inverted World Live on Rumble and YouTube. We'll be taking your phone calls till midnight. See you guys then. Later,
Great
everybody.
seeing you
Anyone
as
can
always,
call in.
man.
Anybody can call in.
Anybody. All right. Cutrim says, people who burn the American flag and wave any other should be treated with the ruthless indifference as anyone who declared war on America throughout history.
Oh, I think they should be treated with scorn, never mind indifference.
Well, for the longest time when they said you can burn an American flag, it's fine. This only was easy to say when the majority of the country wasn't burning American flags. They were like, fine, you do whatever you want. Why do we care? You're a fringe minority.
Well, also, you'd probably know this better than I, but am I mistaken, or was that Supreme Court decision not decided until like the early 90s? That burning a flag was protected
like 89
speech
or something like that.
That was not something that has been a historic norm in our country.
Listen, I understand the point that you're making, but the all of the gun rights progress that we've made in the past 25 years, they all started in like 2010.
Yep.
So here's the thing, there's truth in that.
I'm not interested in saying, well, it was found recently, so I don't want to pay attention to it because they will.
That's not my argument. My argument is, what is the lineage of it? Because when our nation began, we had robust gun rights. And so they're returning.
Well,
I don't believe people were burning American flags when the United States started, and that would have been considered protected speech. Because a lot of the things we consider protected speech are based on like a post-war vision of what that means.
We didn't have robust gun rights, we had the assumption of freedom.
Yes.
So the assumption was you're free to do whatever you want. So you can buy a machine gun, etc. Because you are a free man, there is no reason to believe that you would be prevented or you would have to ask for any kind of permission or whatever.
So I don't think that this is the case when it comes to the First Amendment restrictions that did exist at that time. There were obscenity laws. Porn was not legal everywhere. I don't think people were out burning flags. I don't think it's comparable.
What upsets you guys more, the American flag being burned or like thousands and thousands of Mexican flags being waved?
Thousands of Mexican flags
Palestinian
those being
flags
waved,
being waved, and us powerless to do anything about it, particularly when it interferes with law enforcement.
Yeah, 100%. The fact that there are people in the country that would prefer to wave Palestinian or Mexican or what have you flags, that is far more upsetting than the idea of someone burning an American flag as a form of protest.
I mean, it's cultural degradation.
Well, and it's also a matter of context too. It's especially upsetting when somebody's out rioting and chanting and marching in defiance of the law while waving a foreign country's flag too.
We got this one from Unit Glue. It says, are tariffs working? Yes. China's minimum wage is down to $1.25. State workers remain unpaid, leading to revolts. Evidence of torture and actor Yu Menglong's death have surfaced. CCP lands in trouble. The craziest thing to me, the easiest example of free trade destroying this country, a single grain of sand, is the skateboarding industry. And there's a debate among these fringe, far-left, psychotic retards who think tariffs are bad for skateboarding but are too stupid to know what's good for them. So this debate's been going on. I say tariffs are good. Why? At some point, well, let's go back in time. A guy's making skateboards in his, a guy sees some kid nail a 2x4 to some roller skate trucks and start riding it around in the late 50s, 60s. He goes, I know, I got a wood shop. I can actually make a better board than this that'll work better for these kids. So he makes it. Then he goes to his kid and say, hey, get some kids in the neighborhood to ride these around. We're going to the park and we're going to show them off to everybody, see if we can sell some of these things. They have a local demo. That's what they call them. All the kids in the park see other people on skateboards. They say, I want to buy these. The local manufacturing wood shop starts selling a bunch. He then says, I need to get a couple of kids to ride these boards around town to spread the word. So he sponsors a bunch of kids, gives them free boards, brings boards home. You get a community. A culture is growing. Kids are then riding skateboards. Skateboarding develops. Now it's an Olympic sport. At some point, these companies said, hey, we can save like $5 per board if we ship the wood to China first. The labor over there costs $1 an hour. So we take all the wood from Canada and North America, ship it to China, have the slave labor do it, send it back. We'll make $5. Mm-hmm. What happens? The local wood shops dry up, go out of business. They're not sending out boards to local kids anymore. Now in the United States, skateboarding is completely dead, and pro skateboarders work for they DoorDash. They work at Amazon and Lowe's. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to be a dick to these guys, but they are broke, and it's an Olympic sport. Meanwhile, in Japan, they have a game show called Kaso, which is dominating. You've got the Barracks, which was the biggest, in my opinion, the most relevant cultural skate brand in the country for over a decade, shut down. They opened a combo park with a theme park in Japan. In China, the videos are coming out showing the skate parks loaded with people. When we gave away our jobs, we destroyed our culture, our community, and our ability to there's no existence without this. It's funny because China tricked the U.S. into giving up its jobs, and the jobs are more valuable than the products we get from it. So I say, bring on the tariffs. Why? BooniesHQ.com. Buy skateboards from us. They cost $55. We get about $10 a board margin. We give around, it could depend, but upwards of $15 to the pros whose board they are. So it's about $30 to make a skateboard. These pro companies will sell a board online in these shops for $100. And you wonder where that money goes. They're getting made in China. Now the tariffs hit and the cost of boards skyrocket. Some are hitting $150, $200 because instead of saying, let's just make the boards here, let's take all the money we get and invest in a wood shop in America, they say, just check the price up. Then you get these morons who don't know anything about politics going, why is Trump doing this to skateboarding? We're you know what? Yeah. You go, Trump. He knows what he's talking about. What we need now is a sustained period of pain for the companies that offshore to China, for them to say, okay, guys, stop. Make the boards in America. We're losing too much money. That's the move. And then what'll happen? Your community will be revived. Go Trump.
I think I should write a book about that, Tim.
Indeed.
I think I wrote 3 of them about that. And that's what we do every day in the White House, Tim. That's exactly what you've described in micro detail in one particular small industry.
But it's now imagine every single industry.
Scale that up across this country. And here's the thing. It's like, I don't think if you lose the skateboard industry to China, it affects our national security. But when you scale that up to everything we do, we're in a position right now where China has significantly eroded our supply chain, and now they're trying to blackmail us with things like rare earth magnets. So right on, Tim. Right on, my brother.
All right. We got Leah Wolf the Red says, have you tried using Harry Potter analogies to get things through the thick heads of liberals? It's all Harry Potter or Star Wars with those troglodytes.
We were just talking
That's
about
right.
this at lunch. That's hilarious.
Where it's like some liberal is quoting Harry Potter like scripture.
Yeah, they would like quote Harry Potter like scripture, and then J.K. Rowling upset them, and they stopped.
Yeah.
But they would literally
and Sirius
quote
Black
it like it was
said
a
unto the
holy text.
children-
No, it was true. They'd be like, "Is it not written that Voldemort's power?" But it really would be like that, where we had this authority that like Christians give to scripture. They would go, "Well, in Harry Potter, this kind of person was what the bad guy was." And you're like, "What are you talking about, bro?"
Now they don't know what to think because J.K. Rowling's turned on them.
Exactly. Now they don't like Harry Potter anymore.
Or they turned on J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, and I guess they still have The Handmaid's Tale, for now, and then I guess modern Star Wars and Marvel movies. That's pretty much those are the.
Why don't you
now.
take Handmaid's Tale from them by making a modern version where she enjoys it?
Well, here's the thing. We have a kind of a funny Handmaid's Tale parody that I wrote a while ago that I might make at some point in the future, but I don't want to say too much about it. I don't want to spoil it.
Do one where it's like the women are the ones who want this monogamous, hierarchical, traditional religious society.
That's reflective of the real story. You can, like, if you look at the way the women that are like, oh, this is terrible, the way they behave, they actually want that.
What was it? Michael Malice said something that I can't say, so I'll paraphrase that.
That's the whole
women.
thing is, yeah.
Women will claim to be fighting the Handmaid's Tale, but then go home and read 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, that's the point.
Wow.
Like, that's exactly.
He said something more vulgar.
Oh.
That's exactly. I mean, there's everybody that's, if you're extremely online right now, there's a book that everyone that creates content and video, or almost everyone is talking about, called Morning Glory Milking Farm.
Oh, the bowl thing where women are fantasizing about going.
No, I don't know what this is, and I feel I've been shielded, and I'm just gonna come over.
Don't worry, we'll get the uncensored.
You
show,
don't want to, but it's the most disgusting stuff imaginable, and that's the kind of stuff that women are
50,000 reviews on Amazon.
Yeah.
The cover picture is a woman with like a gigantic minotaur, and you can understand what it's about.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I don't want to understand.
Oh, bro, no. If you can get someone to censor the naughty parts for you, the like feminist exposition is so amazing. There's apparently a scene in the book where they're at dinner, and then when they're paying, the woman goes to put her card down, but then the Minotaur pushes her card back, and he says, "Listen, I know we're both at different points in our careers, and that means I can afford to spoil you. So as long as I can, I will. And that's not to say that you're not powerful and important or whatever." And then she's like, "Oh my God, I love him so much." It was at that point that he asked me. You get the point.
What if the Minotaur was like under 6 feet tall and didn't make 6 figures and didn't have a six pack? Then how would the story go?
Yeah, but the point is, like Tim said, like
insane, dude.
She says in the book, she's like, if he asked me, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, I would have been the submissive, let him take advantage of me if he, and that's it's very typical of what women want.
Well, I'd be careful because the publishing industry is really degenerate, and they'll push things. There's this channel I stumbled upon back in August called The Second Story, and she was breaking down how smut gets pushed in women's publishing. Listen, humans are broken.
The point that I'm making.
Look, humans are broken.
Look at the Amazon reviews. Like the Amazon, it's ton of 4 and 5 star reviews. The people that are buying this book are enjoying this book. So I
think
understand
multiple things can be true. I don't disagree with you. Humans are broken, and when people have certain things
Stop making
pushed onto them with
excuses
exposure
for the
therapy.
woman's smut. Stop making
I don't
excuses
think
for
there's
the
an
woman's
excuse.
smut.
Women, I think if you read that, you're accountable for reading that, and you shouldn't have done it. But I do think the publishing industry has really pushed it.
I think all media, just all of it, ban it all. Because
Ban all media.
how many seasons of Married to Strangers are there at this point? Are you familiar? You've got like 90 Day Fiance, and then you've got there's like 16 versions of the same show with like 80 seasons each. And it's like, we got a guy from Pakistan and marry a lady from Japan. What do you think happened? And then you just like, women just watch that stuff like crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. There's so much trash TV. The idea that you're supposed to focus on your screen at all times. I mean, there used to be a time when people had to make things that had some level of quality to them, even if it wasn't the greatest thing ever created. There was an expectation that the person was really going to attempt to make something special. And now with the reality TV show stuff, I mean, granted, that's a 20-year-old phenomenon, but the way that has pushed out like competently created fiction and forced it to compete with filming people and then editing it in deceptive ways is a very lopsided landscape, and it's very sad.
Yeah, I was too old for the Golden Bachelor. They called me. They said, you want to do it? I told them how old I was. Yeah, you're a little pushing that.
All right.
Who watches that crap? Come on now.
Jack Rivers Poker says, Heart Attack game, you did well. A couple of leaks to plug, and you still could have won even with the Queen's cooler. Good job overall, though. I came in second to last, but they have a thing called the luck distribution, and I had 0. It was absolutely merciless. There are a few spots I thought that I could have done better, but it's funny because, you know, everyone's always telling you what you should have done, but not taking consideration what's going on in the room and things they can't see or can't notice. You're probably right, though, Jack, but what I would say is I'm actually proud of myself in that game. There was I probably did the wrong thing, but did the right thing. There was a point where I was card dead for 2 hours, meaning like you're just not getting playable hands, and so I'm just mucking. Eventually, you can't just sit there and do nothing. Plus, I do want to stress this to everybody that watched. We were asked to be a little crazy. They intentionally were like, don't take it super seriously. This is not a tournament. Have fun and be goofy. That's why I did a blind bet of $100 because I was like, okay, let's make something entertaining for the show. Ended up with queens, Romulo at aces. It was still kind of obvious because it went raise to 1,000, raise to 27. I look at queens. So I knew he probably was on a big pair or something. But I'm like, what are you going to do? Fold queens? I could have, but I rolled with it. But there was one point where I looked down at deuce 5 offsuit, which is trash. Never play it. Don't listen to me. Don't play it. But I figured I would try to make some bluff attacks. So I figured I'd call. Hopefully the board comes low. Then the people who raised are going to be over the top, and I can try and bluff them out of the pot, which I had success in a previous moment. What ends up happening is the board comes out. I think it was like, what was it? Deuce 3 5. No. What did I have? I had deuce 5, so it was deuce 3 6. So I hit the pair of deuces, needed a 4 for the straight. Romulo is playing, and he makes a bet, and I call. Because I'm like, I think my pair's probably good. He's probably doing a continuation bet, meaning his hand is above the board, and he's just trying to, look, I'm the aggressor, I got the best hand. The 4 comes out giving me the straight, which at this point is the second best possible hand. So I'm thinking, okay, my pair might have been good if he's got like ace king, ace queen, and ace combo. I'm probably dead to any pair, but, I could always fold. At this point, I'm thinking, well, now I'm good. But then he barrels, and I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking like, he's got 5-7. He's got the one hand that beats me right now. My luck was running so bad. I'm like, I could tell from the look in his eyes, there was this like incredulity that he could not believe he had the absolute nuts. And so he bets, I call. The river comes out, I think it was a king. And then he bets 700, and I go, and I grab 700, and I call. And he goes, I got the nuts. And he flips over 5-7. I flip over 2-5 for the second nuts. And he goes, holy crap. You lost the minimum. He's like, why didn't you raise? I'm like, because I knew you had it. I was like, soul read. I knew that he had that. My second nuts were no good, and I got a lot of praise for that, despite losing like $1,500 in the hand. That I didn't raise, and then he jams, and then I lose everything. I just called because I was just looking at the way he was playing, the bet he was making, and I thought in my head, he's got the look of somebody who's not concerned at all. He was like, I won. That's the. So it wasn't like that he had aces or anything like that. I'm like, he's got the nuts. And so I walked out of the room, and I was like, I didn't do the worst. But I had a lot of people being like, dude, that hand, oh my God, how did you get out of there? And I was like, good read, I guess. So despite the bad luck in some areas, I had some good luck, some good play. But I probably could have, I think if, I'll tell you how bad I was running. I had jacks, I raise, Haley calls me with king 6 offsuit because she's nuts. And the board comes 7, 8, 9 of spades, give me the gut shot straight flush draw. But she's got the one-liner to the king high flush with a 6 of clubs. And she jams all in, and I'm like, I'm over the board with the flush redraw and gut shot straight flush. So I'm like, okay, I call. She says, do you want to run it twice? I say yes, because I'm more interested in just playing the game long term. We're doing like a 4-hour stream than just winning money. She hits the 5 and hits a straight on the first board. She was absolutely in the minority position. I should have 80% chance to win or something like that. She still hits it. Fortunately for me, I said, we'll run it twice. We ended up chopping the pot, but that's how insanely bad I was running. Miserable. But it was fun.
Good luck for you.
It was fun.
You got a good poker face, though, right?
Yeah, probably.
So anytime Tim gets a good hand, his beanie like shoots up in the air and comes back down like a cartoon. And he goes.
So I'm actually, just to get into all the poker stuff, I had a really great play on Saturday, playing 2-5, $1,000 buy-in. And I think I'm actually normally decent, like Jack's pointing out, like some leaks probably. I don't think I'm that good. But I did a perfect false tell and roped the guy in for $600. I had king 9 of clubs. And he raises, I call. So he probably had a big pair. And the board comes out, I think it was ace 3 8 of clubs, which means I have what's called the nuts. My king 9 cannot be beat by any other hand. However, there's something that happens at a lot of lower stakes tables with inexperienced players. When the board comes out monotone, we call it, it's all one suit. You'll notice inexperienced players will all look down at their hands. That's called a suit check. Typically, your hand is going to be 2 different suits. Sometimes you're suited. Usually you're not. So when the board comes out all clubs, people are going to go, do I have a club? And they're going to check. So when dude raised and the board comes out, I already know I have the nuts. But I did a fake suit check and look down, and then I call his bet, hoping that he's thinking in his mind he has the king of clubs, but he's not made the flush yet because he's got a king and a 10 of spades or something. So then he checks, I bet, he calls. He checks, I bet small, like 200, to make it look like I'm trying to do a bluff value bet to get him off the pot. He calls, I go, I got the nuts. Boom. He got pissed. He stormed off. So I was pretty proud of that play. That was pretty good. I like poker.
Nice.
Good fun. Anyway, we're going to go to the uncensored portion of the show, my friends. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. If you want to see Seamus learn about the Minotaur milking book.
No, that will not happen. I will leave the room the moment it comes
Go
up.
to rumble.com/Timcast IRL. It's going to be up in about 30 seconds or so. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Peter, did you want to shout anything out?
Yeah. I went to prison so you won't have to. Take a look at this. It incorporates all the themes we talked about tonight. It has great meaning for what's going to happen over the next couple of years if we don't hold them accountable. And that means putting them in prison if you're not getting the message. They're going to put us in prison. So always a pleasure to be with you guys, and it's been fun tonight. And now we're going to go into the uncensored portion. It'll be even more fun.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming by. And I would definitely like to read your book. So thank you for stopping by and for everything you did.
I don't want you to just read it.
Yeah.
I want you to buy the damn thing.
Fair enough.
You're a little cheap
Fair
ass.
enough.
You're like
I'll
looking
buy
at
a
this
copy
thing like
here,
we're
from
not
you.
letting
You
the
got
borrow
me.
out without him giving you one. So I'll
Yes,
give
of
you one
course.
for free if you
No,
do.
I'll buy a
Hang
copy of
on,
the
I'll make
book.
a deal with you.
Huh?
Make a deal. I'll give you one for free if you do a little video on it. You know.
A video? Oh yeah, dude, I'd be happy to read that and like break it down, and I'm happy to get it. Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. But no,
There's
I'll buy a copy.
Couple of vignettes in there that I think would be just camera ready, man. You could do it.
Yeah. No, dude, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. I'm gonna check it out. No, dude, I'm serious. I want to buy it.
Okay.
I want to read it because but when you came on the show, I admire you and your work. My name's Seamus Coughlin. I'm a cartoonist. I have a YouTube channel called Freedom Tunes. If you guys want to go over there and check out my stuff, I also am launching an animated series called Twisted Plots. It's a full-length animated show. We're crowdfunding it right now. If you're sick and tired of entertainment being produced by people who hate you, who hate your values, who are going to tell stories that are going to give you a bad moral or make you feel more cynical about reality and about the world, then please go over to twistedplots.com, support us. You'll get access to the pilot. You'll be helping us build culture. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you for having me tonight, Tim.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I just did a feature with the band Zillion. The song is called Cannibals. You can check it out on October 17th. Go to Spotify to pre-save it now. My band is All That Remains. You can check us out on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime.
We will see you all at rumble.com/Timcast IRL in about 30 seconds. Thanks for hanging out.